self-control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. The claws in my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling me. You bunch of paranormal maniacs. How you doing tonight? This is the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are working on our Wednesday paranormal journey. Portal. All right, you mother portals. It's like a dub. You know? But I hope you're ready because we are going in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're right. You're right, Elaine. It is Whack Job Wednesday. It's Whack Job Wednesday. That's just perfect. That kind of fits it. That might be the new show title for Wednesdays. If I can squeeze the word paranormal in there somewhere. Paranormal Whack Job Wednesdays. How you doing, Deb? Good to see you, Gemini. Who else is in here? Don.
Cha-cha.
Cha-cha. Cha-cha. Joni loves cha-cha.
and din-din.
And din-din. Cha-cha and din-din. That sounds like an anime, doesn't it?
It does.
Cha-cha and din-din. No. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. We are absolutely at it and ready to go and absolutely thrilled to be here. But I'm not alone. I got my good friend and other voice in my head, Mr. Don Longbeard, right here with me.
Somehow I survive every week.
You do, and you always make it back. You're like
do.
a bad rash. I kick you out, and you come right back. No, I'm just kidding. You complete me, Don. Ooh. There's no question about it.
Duke says, yo, paradudes and paradudettes.
Ooh.
So are we paradudes?
I don't know what the hell we are. We
Paradudes.
have not come up with a really good pet name for everybody, for us as a collective. I'm not sure what it is, but I keep listening to these suggestions, and they're not bad, but something, we're just missing that one. It's just like a one-word something. You know, it can be para something. I don't know. But
Parasite.
Yeah. Parasite. Don, you tick. Dang, you're sucking the love right out of the room.
But I'm adding the flavor.
with a marinade only you could bring. No, we're not sure what it's going to be. Weirdos isn't bad. That is pretty good. We are a bunch of weirdos. There's no question. And don't be offended, ladies and gentlemen, because you are
weirdos.
You are our kind of weird. That's all I'm saying. You guys are exactly our kind of people. So, Brent is Will Turner. Wow, I don't fit that description at all.
Well, I got called Jack Sparrow. It might be because I have a jug in my hand. Wrong jug.
Don's starting his own jug band over here.
Here, let me get my plastic one.
You got to go up and down in your seat when you do that too.
Oh, you're right.
So, welcome to the show, everybody. We are being absolutely stupid and ridiculous, but that's just how we roll here on the Portal. If you're new to the show, we just like to have a lot of fun because, of course, the paranormal is dark and moody and weird and scary and all that all by itself.
Weird and scary.
So we're just odd. We're kind of completing the full house on this deal.
We're running a game on adverbs.
Yeah, exactly. We're running the board for sure. But I just think it's a topic that can definitely do with having some fun with it and having a good time with all of you guys, because of course all of you in here are family. I mean, you guys have been part of this for so long and been watching it grow and helping it grow and spreading the words. And there's a new name. Lame Nerd Lane is in here.
Yeah, I see that. That's a new one to me.
Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in and finding us. Unless you're like Cha-Chan, we used to know you by a different name.
Name number 3.
The Portal Pets. Oh, that sounds demeaning. That sounds demeaning, or like we should be a gentleman's magazine or something. I'm not quite ready for that level.
The paramates.
Yeah.
Portal mates.
Yeah. I don't know. We just like to have fun though, and I think you guys are well versed in that. I'm sure I'll get some crappy messages and stuff.
God, you just sat there and did nothing but talk.
You guys suck. You guys suck.
I know,
You can't even believe how much you suck.
Like there's so many people whose time is just so valuable they couldn't stand to have a little conversation and a few yucks or laughs or anything. They just like,
God, you waste my time. That's 10 minutes I won't get back.
it's like,
Nah, kitty, that's my papa.
I was going to go there.
a bunch of Cartmans rolling in and just trolling the channel, but it is what it is. I don't know. Portalians, yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm still looking for that one zinger. It's just gonna be like boom, and that'll be the one. And I haven't. Yeah, Kenny.
Kenny.
Oh my God, they killed Kenny. But anyway. We are at it, and this is our Wednesday extravaganza. 2 hours of putting up with us, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just like the 1 hour bedtime shows.
You got 2 of us instead of just one.
There's so much double going on here. It's almost like math class.
It's like double mint gum. Double the pleasure, double the fun.
Double the fun, absolutely. We try to double it as much as we can. But we hope you're having a good time and are laughing with us. If you're laughing at us, I guess that's okay too.
We'll have to just accept it.
It's okay. There's nothing we can really do about it. But this is just us. I mean, we don't get any more sophisticated than this. So if you're looking for a different show, you might want to start surfing. But we have a good time doing it. And thank you for being a part of it, all of you guys. Who is in here though, Don?
Who's in here? Wow, who isn't in here lately? Let me run up to the top here. Here we go. And participant list. Wow, that's a good list tonight.
Hey.
We've got Asher Hall. We've got Black Tree. We've got Mr. Duke of Sullivan. Cha Din Din. We got Deb. Hi, Deb Lane. Gemini. Lame Nerd Lane. Now somebody accused him of being Mr. Crispy Bacon as well. So,
okay.
We got Lewis, we got Many Musings, Pam, and Rivers, and Tammy White. That's a new name to me. Hi, Tammy, how are you? Mm-hmm. And Tesla Tech 89.
Tesla Tech, sure.
Tesla Tech.
Excellent. Well, thanks. And if we didn't announce you, hey, Duck Sauce, good to see you, brother. If we didn't announce you, just give us a yell in the chat, and we'll try to catch up with that.
My name's Brent.
What?
Don't yell at me. My name's Brent.
What do you mean?
I'm
not tracking.
Just never mind. Okay. Chris Guy just popped in. DH, there's duck sauce.
Yeah, I said duck
Yeah, I know
sauce.
you duck sauce.
Okay, all right. I
Just
thought you
completing.
didn't hear
I'm
me.
completing you.
Now you're just duplicating me.
Fine,
But
be
that's
that way.
fine.
I got you back. You want it?
Yeah, you haven't got my front though. That's all I'm saying.
Oh God.
Just stay away from the front, Don. You can deal with the back.
That sounds bad in so many ways.
It really is. I'm sure it's more horrible than I even know. I already read this one, so I don't know why I didn't close it. Oh, I know I didn't close it, but I closed it now anyway. So it's gone. That's just the way it rolls here. Me and my 50,000 freaking tabs. I always forget what the hell I'm doing. Let's see. What am I going to talk about first? What do you want to talk about first, Don?
What do I want to talk about first?
Yeah.
Gosh, I wasn't ready for the spotlight. Gee,
Well-
Mr. DeVille,
Talk to us, sir.
talk to me. Did you hear about the Irish farmer who claims he was sexually assaulted by a leprechaun?
Oh, no. This already sounds like there's a bad punchline coming. Go ahead. No, I didn't hear about that, Don. What happened?
It says a dairy farmer in Southern Ireland says he was sexually assaulted for 2 days by an extremely short, bearded, I'm not short, humanoid, which he says is a leprechaun. In an exclusive interview broadcast this morning on RTE, Angus Brennan from Watergrass Hill near Cork says he was milking his cows on Saturday when he was hit on the head from behind with a shovel or a similar tool. The attack knocked him out, and when he woke up a few hours later, he had been tied to a support beam inside his own barn. The 54-year-old farmer says he was repeatedly raped for the next 40 hours by a waist-high.
Whoa.
And I'm quoting here.
Right.
Don't take, but a waist-high midget with a red beard and a cocked hat.
Oh, no.
It wasn't human. It was short, fiendish, and spoke in gibberish. According to Mr. Brennan, the leprechaun raped him for more than 20 times over the weekend before leaving him for some unknown reason.
Poor guy didn't even get the long-term commitment.
Yeah, you got 20 hours. That's good enough.
Yeah, it's probably in really poor taste to make fun of that, but he is saying, ladies and gentlemen, he got raped by a leprechaun.
Oh my
so-
God! He's not just saying he got raped. It says it used me in every possible way over a period of 2 days.
Is there a punchline to this? Is this a joke or is this actually...
I'm reading it from.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure.
I was finally able to free myself from my bonds and call the police. The officers and paramedics arrived on site within minutes and found Mr. Brennan laying in a pool of his own blood. He was
Oh, no.
transported to the hospital in Cork, where doctors observed obvious signs of violent sexual aggression.
Oh no.
The commissioner confirmed that the National Police Force had opened an investigation, but insisted the investigators were, at the moment, looking for human suspects.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms. Leave my damn Lucky Charms alone. I'm sorry. That's just, I'm being a real dick here, and I know it, but it's one of those stories I don't know what to do with. I don't know how to process this because if I don't laugh, I'm just going to cry, I think.
It's rather improbable that the rapist turns out to be a leprechaun.
Well,
A type of fairy in Irish folklore, usually depicted as little bearded men who partake in mischief. Even so, a surprisingly number of leprechaun sightings and even a few other attacks have been reported over the years across the UK and even in the United States.
oh, wouldn't they? Okay, let's look at this forensically. Wouldn't there be DNA evidence they could check for? So they can definitely rule out: is it just a really short person that's got a bad mood, or is this really something that's not quite human? You know what I mean? It's like.
Images of that video we watched earlier just flashed through my head. I'm only 5 foot.
Oh yeah, there was this really angry guy in a deli, and he was just going off on people.
Mad.
Oh, and he was just, oh my God.
So in April 2015, a Welsh man reported being assaulted and robbed by a pair of evil-looking leprechauns armed with knives. In June 2012, in Seattle, a man who was found covered in blood outside a bar was reported assaulted by a bunch of leprechauns.
Wow.
In 2006, a leprechaun sighting in Mobile,
Alabama mobile?
I don't know, it doesn't say, drew a large crowd and even forced police intervention. In all cases, the leprechauns have yet to be apprehended.
Well, they they don't want to give up their gold, I guess. But wow, that's like really disturbing, right? I mean, but there would be DNA, right? I mean, they could do a kit on this guy and figure it out. Wouldn't they want to know?
Well, but how would they be able to tell? It would be like half of most of the DNA would be like unknown DNA. It'd be like
maybe
the Star Child.
But I mean, it might help to substantiate his claim.
Well,
because,
we know it wasn't human.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what I mean, though. It's one of those stories. It's like, oh my God, how you doing, Isaac? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in, Isaac Areola. Is that right?
That's what it says.
Areola.
That's the
maybe.
way I read it.
Let's just say it, Areola.
Isaac was in a couple days ago, I remember.
Okay.
So
Very cool. Well, good to see you. Thanks for coming in and being a part of the show. You came in at a really weird story, unfortunately. I don't know what to do with this one. This is really, really weird. Now, oddly enough, somebody said I thought it was going to be gnomes, but leprechauns are believed, according to Robin Moonshadow, they're believed to be in the gnome line of mysterious creatures or beings, I guess.
related.
I don't know. That's very, very strange, and it's very, very disturbing because obviously they're kind of starting a trend here. It looks like
Freaking drones here.
drone. What was he?
It'd be mean, but I'd kind of like to be cool to throw one.
Well, there you go.
He says he's just kidding.
Yeah, of course.
He
but,
wouldn't really.
Yeah, I think.
Drunken gnomes. What kind of gnomes are there?
Well, if it was a Clericon now, Don, it would have been very cool.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'd be partying right with it.
Because Clericons are the drunken gnomes. They're like the party gnomes. They're related to the
Leprechauns.
Leprechauns.
Yeah, they're leprechaun cousins.
Cousins to the leprechauns.
Hi, Diana. Haven't seen you in a while.
Aw.
Nice to see you.
Diana
She
said
says
she'd
she'd
throw
throw
one like a football.
Punt him like a black-eyed kid.
So what did they do in this? That poor guy, he not only got just totally normally humiliated in just a brutal way, but he also had to say it was a leprechaun. I mean, how broken would you be after that? I mean, it's already traumatic enough to say, look, this happened to me. I didn't, obviously I didn't agree with it. I couldn't stop it. That's horrible. But then to have to say it was another kind of creature altogether. Oh man, that poor guy.
You know what? It happened when he was milking his cows, so I think it's actually utterly ridiculous.
Oh no. Oh no. So you add some salt to this guy's poor wounds. He's out there listening, going, damn it.
I'll never live this down now. It was talked about on a worldwide podcast.
No. Poor guy. Wow. I honestly, I mean, seriously, there should be some, if it truly happened, if it's truly in modern day, is this apparently a modern account?
Yeah, because they were talking about an attack that happened in 2015, right?
Right.
So let's see when this was reported. It was reported June 20th of 19, so it was just the end of last month.
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, no, this was July 10th. That was today.
Huh?
Oh, no, that's Hot Topic. Never mind.
Okay. But
Never
no,
mind.
I mean,
But
it's a current story.
Yeah,
And
very
so
current.
it should apply that they would use the same forensic techniques they would if it was, people, right?
Like a rape kit? Yeah.
Right, that's
You
what
would
I'm
think
saying.
So, yeah.
I mean, clearly, you could get, if it indeed happened, if they indeed can identify some DNA from this perpetrator, could they prove that these things exist? Right? I mean, really, it is.
Thank you, Aussie. I appreciate that. Aussie says the pun was there for the taking.
Why? What did I say?
No, me.
Oh, you. Okay.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. That's called the low-hanging fruit, Aussie. It's like the low apple that you grab because you don't want to work getting the hard ones. But yeah, I don't know. That's if it is indeed true. Again, we can't speak to the authenticity of it, but if it is indeed true, that's really creepy, and that makes me afraid of little people even more.
We're going to have to ask Robin about that sometime. So, Robin, have you ever heard of...
Robin, what do you make of this? Yeah. Where was this? In England, right?
No, it was
UK?
over in Ireland.
Okay,
It
yeah.
was over by Cork, yeah.
Okay,
Just
gotcha.
outside of Cork.
Wow. That's
Watch your backs. You won't see them coming.
yeah, I know.
Doesn't matter.
They could hide behind a flower, for God's sakes, and then thwap. You bend down to pull a weed and thwap. Next thing you know, it's
You're
like
pulling a
50 shades,
train.
50 shades of gray, and you're dealing with all kinds of little angry people. That's just so wrong. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this one, ladies and gentlemen, but I think all we can do is just leave it lay there. Very, very disturbing.
That's how the leprechaun left him.
Well, yeah. Well, they had him tied up to beams and stuff, right?
Yeah, but they found him laying in a pool of his own blood.
Oh, Jesus. That's just so horrible.
After a while,
Yeah, I know. 50 Shades
like,
of Grey.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Is it hot in here?
I don't know what's going on with you, Don.
They-
That story
It
left me
must just
chilly.
be me. Kind of clammy up in here.
I'm feeling rather chilled after hearing all that, to be honest with you. So I got one here. This is
Thank God.
this is a change of pace, which we desperately need at this point because
Oh,
you can't make those things up. But this is creepy on a whole different level.
yes. This is
It
creepy.
says
That's creepy.
50 concerned parents on the creepiest words their demon child has ever spoken. No, I'm a happy parent. I love my children, and I'm very proud of my kids. And I never had any one of these kind of experiences, but apparently sometimes people's kids say just some really twisted stuff.
You think?
Now, I mean, I've never experienced this personally, but let's see what's going on. And this is apparently from Reddit. So when my oldest son was about 3, he said one night at bedtime, "Mommy, I like you better than my fake mommy." And I said, "Who's your fake mommy?" He said, "You can't see her, but she tucks me in after you do."
Oh,
Ooh. Well, that's not really the kid's fault at that point. He's just having experience. And the title was like Demon Kids. It's like, I thought the kids were all twisted, but that's just a kid experiencing another presence. The next one, my niece was about 4 when I heard her laughing in her room, and I walked in and asked her what she was doing. And she said, "Chucky says if you stick your fingers in your eyes, they come out of your mouth." And then she told me Chucky lived underground.
oh God.
It still gives me chills. Wow.
Anytime children talk about Chucky, I get chills.
I know. Well, there is that because so I mean, obviously there's the Child's Play movies and the the infamous Chucky doll,
Yes.
the good guy doll. But so when you hear something like that, I think, well, this is a kid that's watching too much YouTube or something,
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
But what if it was she was really seeing a little apparition that was doing that? That's all kinds of wrong. The next one, picked him up from daycare when he was 3, driving home totally quiet, him just staring out the window, and he randomly asks, "Hey, Dad, remember that time we died in a fire?" Ooh. So this is definitely a reincarnation kind of instance.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Wow, that's pretty deep. So the next one, my 3-year-old daughter was going through the monsters under her bed phase and lasted for weeks. And it was really wearing on her mom and me. And one night, after Mom tried to put her to bed, she tagged me in. I guess that's like a wrestling term, right? Tag me in. And after 30 minutes, I grew pretty frustrated. In a last-ditch attempt, I promised my daughter that there weren't any monsters under her bed, and she replied, "I know. Now they're behind you."
Oh, shit.
After that, I let her sleep with us for a week.
Wow.
That's awesome. I heard this. I heard the 1-year-old's high chair move, even though nobody was near it. And I asked the 3-year-old, "What was that?" And he said, while pointing to the chair, "What is she doing here?" Oh, these kids are seeing stuff. Oh man, that's pretty stressful. All right, next one. He started to refuse to go downstairs at age around 3 or 3.5. He was terrified, saying there was an evil angel man down there that wanted to hurt the whole family. Consistently drew the same picture of said angel man as well. So that very well might be a demon.
Seen it quite a few times.
So yeah, and with the wings and stuff, if it's really an angel man, like it has wings,
Yeah.
then I would say, it could be the kid is seeing some kind of demon.
Quick call Zach.
Yeah, yeah. Zach's been ridden more than a moped by demons. You know, I mean, that guy.
As opposed to the guy in Ireland that was raped for 70 hours.
Yeah, I was trying to forget that one, but thanks for bringing it back.
You opened the door. I just shut it all the way through.
I just meant that he always gets like affected by those things. Like, yeah. So this is the next one. This was terrifying. When I was a teenager, I was babysitting for a family with 3 young kids, and the boy was about 8 and the girls were in kindergarten. And their parents had driven an hour away to see a play, but still planned to be home early in the night. And however, I got a call when they had been in a minor car accident and would be home a couple hours later than planned. They asked several times how and if the boy was sleeping, which should have been a red flag, but I simply said that all the children were sleeping and left it there. About an hour goes by, and it's definitely nighttime now, and I'm sitting on a sofa downstairs and looking through some old magazines to pass the time, and suddenly I hear shuffling on the staircase. The boy was clearly sleepwalking, but his eyes were open and rolled back. Oh, no. He started running his hands along the wall, grabbing family pictures while screaming, "They all must go, they all must go," before throwing the pictures down the stairs. Once I overcame a moment of sheer panic, I rushed up the stairs and tried to grab him. Once I'm about half a foot away from him, he starts screaming, "If you touch me, you die. If you touch me, you die," followed by manic laughter. And by this point, the sound of crashing glass and screaming has woken up all the girls, and I can hear them crying, totally freaked out, but still focused on keeping the kid from falling down the stairs. I grab the boy by the back of his pajamas and lead him back up to the rest of the stairs and towards his room. When we get to his doorway, he calmly walks to his bed and gets back in as if nothing had happened. Flabbergasted, I go over to his bed and he's perfectly sound asleep. I can still hear the girls crying, so I rush to their room, and they're huddled together in the back corner crying, and I say, "Oh, no. It's okay. Your brother's okay. He's just sleepwalking. He's fine." And one of the little girls looks at me and says, "We know he can't help it. Simon makes him do it."
Oh.
And that was the last straw for me. I didn't ask any more questions.
Peace out.
Brought the girls downstairs with me, gave them milk and cookies, turned on the radio, and turned every single light on. Parents walk in and know immediately what happened. Never babysat for that family again.
Nope.
Yeah, that'd be enough. That's a one babysitting gig, I think.
and you're paying an extra $100.
It's no wonder the parents wanted to go an hour away.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's get out of cell range quick.
Wow.
All right, so let's see what's next.
Touch me, you'll die.
Yeah, that's terrible, huh? Simon, whoever the hell Simon is, that's horrible. But that to me,
Simon says.
Right. My oldest kept talking in his bed past bedtime, and we asked him who he was talking to, and he said he was talking to the floating white lady. I don't remember the description he gave us, but I do remember the kid, his kid number 3, doing the same routine 8 years later. So apparently 2 children growing up in that same house both saw the floating lady and would talk to her.
Wow.
But again, not a bad haunting.
It's not so bad.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, if you grew through one and it's not screwed up or anything evil going on, then that's just a presence. So another one, my 3-year-old grandson has babbled about plane crashes since he started talking. He would reenact with toys a plane chasing another plane, and the first suddenly dropped to the ground, and he'd yell in a heart-rending scream, "Oh no, we crashed!" And this was his first sentence. He did this over and over. Wow. That's the first word, the first full sentence. "Oh no, we crashed." Early this summer, he's 3, and I'm reading him a bedtime story, and I pause and look up at him, and he said to me, "Granny, I was a pilot. My plane was the Kitty Hawk, and I crashed into the water when they shot it off my wing and shot it off my face." It almost stopped my heart.
Wow.
Yikes.
The Kitty Hawk, though, that was the Wright brothers, right?
Well, I don't know. He looked so troubled and sad, and I told him that he had done his best, and I was very proud of him, and that he was only a little boy now and needed not to worry about that. But if he needed to talk about it, he could any time, and I just hugged him. I researched, and Kitty Hawks were used by almost every country in early World War II.
Huh.
I didn't know that. Of course, Kitty Hawk was where the Wright brothers
Yeah, that's
did
what I
their
was thinking,
thing.
yeah.
But there must have been a model of plane called the Kitty Hawk as well. Wow, that's scary. Let's see what's next. All right, not a parent's, but when my little brother was 4 and I was like 18, we were playing with Hot Wheels cars, and he just started singing the alphabet song, which is normal for kids to just start singing at random times, but he had twist to it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, everyone is dead. I just looked at him for a moment, and then he just kept playing with cars. Kids are weird. My son is 7, dreamily and out of nowhere. Today is the day I'm going to die.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Him, oh no, Mom, don't worry, not today, but on this date on some other year. Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty intense. Next one. When my cousin was a kid, there was a doll at a toy shop that she longed for months. She was a fabric doll with a painted face and had red hair made from yarn and a green printed dress. She got the doll for Christmas and fairly soon after had a dream that the doll was laughing and pulling out her toenails. Jeez. She was so freaked out that we had to get rid of the doll, and a couple months ago, my cousin's 8-year-old son came to her after a nightmare about a mean doll and described my cousin's doll exactly. Wow.
I like how they avoided saying it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Raggedy Ann doll? Yeah, exactly. Like Annabelle?
Yes.
Right. I mean, that could have been the precursor to Annabelle. You never know. I don't know how old that story is, but wow.
It's actually very, very old, yeah.
Well, Annabelle is, yeah.
Yeah.
That
yeah, what
specific
that kid say,
story,
right?
yeah. So this one is when my daughter was little, she was crying, and I went to check on her, and she said she couldn't get the picture to go away. And I said, what picture? And she pointed to an empty spot on the rug, and I asked her what it was a picture of, and she said it was my car on fire. I was leaving for a long road trip a couple of days later, and I never drove so carefully in all of my life. Wow. Next one. One night, my husband had gone out with friends, and I had settled in for some Netflix after the kids went to bed. My son got up and walked past the bedroom to where I was sitting and then stopped. He had dead eyes. And I asked him if he was okay and did he need the bathroom? Did he have a bad dream? And although he turned his face towards me, he didn't answer and his expression didn't change. It was like he was possessed or zombified. I led him to the bathroom and he followed easily enough but just stood by the toilet. And when I told him to pull down his pants, he did, but I still had to say, now go pee. Like he couldn't figure it out on his own. He would follow direct orders but not answer questions. Wouldn't talk at all and had a dead expression the entire time. I was getting more and more frantic trying to get him to respond to me or show that he could hear me, and I called my husband and told him that he needed to come home. Something wasn't right. And sat on the tub, panicking and almost crying, and he just stood there and watched me impassionately. And after about 15 minutes, he tilted his head, and blood started running out of his nose and down his face.
Ugh.
No reaction out of him at all. I grabbed a handful of paper towel or toilet paper, shoved it under his nose, and told him to hold it. He did, blank-faced, and then picked my phone up to call 911. And before I was done dialing, my son said, "Mom, what's going on?" It was so unexpected, and my tensions were so high, I jumped up and almost screamed, and told him he was having a nosebleed, and he said he didn't remember anything at all. Asleep in his bed, woke up in the bathroom with his mom crying and his nose bleeding. And that was the day I realized my kid was a sleepwalker, and I was a total wimp of a mom. I don't think that's just sleepwalking, though, right?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so either. That's
Board.
huh?
Callboard.
Callboard. Oh my God! Callboard all over the place. What happened over here, Don?
It exploded.
Exploded. All right.
Exploded. First
Call 480. You're on the air.
Hi, Don.
Oh,
Hi,
my
Don.
God, that was loud.
It's me and Tess. We're having dinner.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wonderful. How you guys doing? Having a good time?
We're talking about haunted dolls, too.
You're talking about what?
Haunted dolls.
Oh, haunted dolls.
Oh, hey, Don.
Hey. What's for dinner?
It's Pat.
We were just talking about the creepy doll when she mentioned that. I have this little doll that my mom have. I don't know the history or anything about her, but I swear sometimes those eyes really scare the crap out of me. And I got another one, Grandma's Pauline, that I actually saved in Palo Santo before I brought her in the house because that's how creepy she looks.
Well, you know, dolls were originally made as vessels for the dead.
Without faces.
Right. Well,
Yeah, this is the second time the Parapeeps have got together.
Oh, very
We're
cool.
eating at Chili's.
Oh, excellent.
Yum, yum.
Ooh, well, you're making me hungry. Thank you for that. But
Are you drinking the nectar of the gods, too?
I am, as a matter of fact. I got the nectar right here, and it's getting me through. It's getting me through, but I could use some chilies. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Southwest egg rolls, man. Oh, yeah.
No,
But I didn't have that today.
I'll
I was
just-
just saying.
I go-
Southwestern egg rolls are the bomb.
I go for meat on
How
the
you
bone.
doing, Don?
I'm doing good.
Don, you didn't answer my thing. I need your... Hold on. Tell him. Hey, I was wanting you to go ahead and text me when you can, address or a P.O. box so I can send you something.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I remember seeing that. I will see what I can do.
Okie doke. Hold
Okay.
on.
All right.
It's a game of
Yeah,
pass
she just
the
wanted
phone.
to tell you that, Don.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. Got called on that one. I admit it.
Wonderful.
Okay. He said he totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
She has something cute in mind.
Okay. Okay.
We're not telling you yet.
We love surprises.
Well, there you go. And I showed her the postcard.
Oh,
too.
excellent. Excellent.
Oh, cool. Yeah, where Don hogged all the room. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. She liked the bridge, the charming pulleys on it,
Yeah. That was awesome.
I hope it didn't fall apart.
Not that I'm aware of. It's still up as far as I know. So, but if not,
It's
at
still
least,
up as far as he knows.
Yep. So,
Yep.
It's so
Well,
crazy because I drove through that area.
She drove through that area, she
Nice.
said.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a
And
beautiful
she said
area.
that's so crazy.
It's a beautiful drive. That's for sure. I was pretty impressed. But yeah, thank you guys for calling us. Great to hear
Did you
from
get any salmon on the way since it's Salmon Bridge? Did
No,
you get any salmon?
It was just a long drive, but it was beautiful scenery. It was really breathtaking. So we had a good drive.
And you caught salmon? No, I'm joking.
Nope, didn't fish, but had a good drive.
That's a fishy, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. And you didn't see any Bigfoot or anything?
No, and I was looking too, but apparently they were busy.
He was looking too.
That looks like a
But anyways, we'll let you go. We just wanted to say hi.
All right. Well, you guys have a great dinner, and thanks for calling in.
Yep, absolutely. Have some ribs for me.
Yep. Well, we'll talk at you later.
All right.
Okay, see you,
you
Jazz.
later.
See you, Taz. Good night, guys.
Take care.
All right. Very cool. And we'll move on to our next call here, and this is area code 314. You're on the air.
Hey, it's Michelle.
Oh,
Hey,
hey,
Michelle.
how
Many
are you?
meetings.
Yeah.
Oh, good to hear from you. How are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. I just wanted to share with you guys a few little stories about my youngest daughter, because you were talking about kids
Right.
earlier.
Sure.
And the first one is when she was a baby. I had those baby monitors, and my husband was at work. My older children were at school, and she was asleep in her crib, and I had the baby monitor on the nightstand right next to her crib. So to do laundry, I had to go downstairs. I took the monitor, my portion of it, with me down to the laundry room, and I'm putting laundry into the dryer, and I hear, "Hi, baby,"
Uh-oh.
into the monitor.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't a threatening "hi, baby." It didn't sound creepy. It was just like somebody was in my house that shouldn't be in my house. So I go upstairs, and there's nobody there. But it reminded me of like a little old lady passing by you in a grocery store.
Right,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would turn and say "Hi, baby" as she walked by. You know, that's just what it reminded me of.
Wow.
So that's just one instance. Now, my ex-husband's house is extremely active with paranormal activity. And another instance is my daughter was a toddler, and my ex-husband had come in was unloading his truck from work and had to go to the bathroom real bad. So he walked to the bathroom, left the door open, which was visible to the living room, with his back turned to us. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And my toddler says, "Daddy, those girls are watching you." And he
Wow.
said, "What girls?" And she says, "There's two girls standing next to you."
Oh no.
And he's like, "Ooh, ah," and he quit. He couldn't finish. And
Which is not easy for a
It's just-
man. I just want to point that out.
no, and to have your toddler tell you that, it's just a little strange.
Right.
And then a lot of times at night, there was one particular, I'm going to call her a spirit in the home, that her name was Sarah. She had related that not only to my daughter, but to me. And she was probably about 4 years old. And I got the feeling that it was tuberculosis that had taken her.
Mm-hmm.
But she was around my daughter a lot. And my daughter was trying to go to sleep one night, and I heard her from the other room say, "Go away, I'm tired. I don't want to play."
Mm.
So my husband and I went in the room, and nobody's in the room, obviously. And we asked her who she was talking to, and she said, "Sarah, she wants to play." So we were just like, well, it's time for her to go to sleep right now. She can't play. And apparently Sarah left her alone. But there were so many instances, and those were just 3
Wow.
that I shared with you.
That's
I plan on
intense.
trying to write up some more and send them in, but
Oh, very cool. I hope you do,
But-
because that's some pretty amazing activity.
we have friends that won't set foot inside the house.
Don't know I can blame them.
There would be a lot of times that I would cook for our friends, and they'd come over, and we had one couple that would literally sit on the deck outside the house, and they wouldn't come in
Wow.
because of it.
Oh.
My dad had babysat for us when we went out one night, and we have glass top coffee tables and end tables, those octagon shaped ones.
Sure.
And he was sitting in the recliner reading his book while the baby was sleeping, and he says it sounded like someone had set a glass down on that end table right next to his chair, onto that glass top table.
That's
I
that's
said,
so
"Did it
intense.
freak you out?" He says, "Well, no, I kind of knew what to expect, from our stories that we've been telling him." And he said it didn't freak him out too much. He says pretty much everywhere I have ever been, there's always been activity around me. So
Oh, okay.
anyway,
Was he already a believer then?
I'll let other people.
No, you're fine. Was he was he aware or
He never
open-minded?
experienced it. He never experienced anything himself, but he's always believed me because
Okay.
I've been able to describe things that I shouldn't know.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Even as he says, he is as far back as he can remember, as far back as I can remember, I've had experiences.
Oh,
I was born a clairvoyant, medium,
sure.
clairaudient, clairsentient, all that. I can see those things, and I have my entire life.
Wow.
So he says he didn't know much about it, so he didn't want to encourage it or discourage it because he didn't know enough.
Sure.
But he knew I wasn't making it up. There was a lot of things I knew that I should not have been able to know.
Oh, that's really
So-
cool. That's really cool. Now, are you still able to see them as clearly as before, or how has that gone for you
Yeah.
as you've aged and as your life has progressed? Has it gotten stronger, or is it about the same, or what are you noticing?
Well, I've learned to this point I am able to mute it myself.
Okay.
But if I don't mute it, it's very strong. I worked as a medium for a while.
Okay.
I was internationally known. I had clients all over the world,
Wow.
but it drains me too much to do that. So I don't do a lot of readings anymore.
Oh,
Because I pick up on their energy as I'm reading.
yeah.
And so a lot of the times when you're dealing with the general public, sometimes the energy they bring to the table is really bad energy. And I don't like tapping into that. So
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've been able to see things like that my whole life,
Wow.
and there's really not been too many things that frightened me.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a couple instances that made me uncomfortable, but most of the time, it's no different than seeing you in a store or walking down a sidewalk.
Right. Yeah, it's just that real, huh?
Well, they're not always like opaque like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be, but most of the time they're not completely opaque.
Well-
But they don't put off this feeling that other people will describe as creepy.
Right.
I don't find it creepy. Just to me, it's normal. So
Well, let me ask you a question, and this is something I've been curious about a while, and I try to ask as many psychic people as I can because I think that this is probably very, very possible. And my idea is that I think we're all have the ability to some level within us. Some people are just more naturally gifted, and they were just born that way. But I think that maybe everybody at some point in their life, if they've lived into their adulthood and stuff, has probably bumped into or passed or maybe even talked momentarily with a spirit, but they didn't know it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it.
oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you believe that
yeah.
that's possible too. Okay.
A lot of as most children can see them.
Right. Right.
Depending on the environment they live in, they will vocalize that if they feel safe enough to vocalize that.
Right.
As people get older, they are conditioned to not see or accept the things that they're seeing
Right.
as real. So it becomes, so they basically block it out.
Mm-hmm.
But they still will have communications in the dream world a lot of times.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what I noticed.
Because that's
Go ahead.
yeah.
That's what I noticed that I've been through is that I do visit with my deceased loved ones in my dreams. And they're incredibly powerful and lucid dreams. And normally I don't remember my dreams. Once in a great while I remember pieces and parts. But whenever these dreams happen, they're so powerful and they're so vivid that, I mean, I honestly cannot tell that I just had a dream. It's like I woke up with like a memory as if it happened. And the last one that I had was with my dad. And my mom is still living, and so is all of my brothers are living as well. And we were sitting around the kitchen table and my dad was there, and we were having a conversation. Now it was my mom and I both knew that my dad was dead in this dream, but it was like my brother, who's not really spiritually activated, I guess is the best way to say it, or open to this kind of stuff. He was there as well. But my dad was just talking about some things he was dealing with, and I can't remember the specifics. And my brother turned to me and said, "Well, why don't you help him?" And I looked at him and I said, "I can't." And then I said, "Wait, you really don't understand what's going on here, do you?" And then all of a sudden this dawning came over him like, oh. And at that point he remembered that Dad really was passed on already. And I thought for sure I was going to wake up, and I called my mom as soon as I woke up, and I'm like, "Mom, do you remember that dream?" And nobody, I mean, she didn't. And so I was so convinced I was going to wake up and be able to call her and talk about it. It was so vivid and so real. And I was so disappointed that I couldn't. And now this wasn't that long ago, maybe like six months ago.
Right.
But it was just so powerful, and I was so disappointed that I'm the only one that remembers it, because I really wanted it to be a spiritual experience because it was so profound and real. But if she really was there, and if my brother really was there, they don't remember it. I'm the only one that does. So, but yeah, the dream thing is definitely very powerful.
Well, it sounds like it definitely was a spiritual experience, and it was meant for you.
Yeah, well, I guess it was. I wish I could remember more of the details about what he was dealing with, but I can't for the life of me. But I just remember having this discussion with these other members of my family and my dad who had passed, and yeah, I mean, I really believe they were there, though. Everybody was really there, not just a representation in my mind. It was just so such a letdown.
Well, I'll venture a guess to tell you it was actual direct communication meant for you. If they don't remember, because usually people will remember it as a dream,
Right.
even for people that don't remember their dreams,
Right.
very often.
Yeah. Which would
So
definitely-
it was a message meant for you.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure it was.
But-
It was really cool.
But I probably should jump off and let other callers call in. I'm always around, so I'll be listening in.
Well, it's wonderful to hear from you, and thank you so much for calling in and sharing those stories. And we appreciate you being part of the family.
No, don't.
No,
What?
Nothing.
it's one.
I'm responding to an IM I just got.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
All right. Welcome to my
Okay, I
world.
get it. I got
Welcome
it.
to my world, musings. I'm living in Don land.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, have a great night.
The funny part
I,
is
I think I know what he's
the
responding to.
the
so
funny
that's
part
okay.
is, Brent, is you have no idea.
I don't, clearly. But I'll pry the truth out of someone. But
Yeah, I will try to. I'll try to find some time to put together a few more
Oh,
of
that'd be cool.
the sightings and
Yeah.
encounters and things that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I use stories from my ex-husband's home because they are the most
pronounced.
Poignant.
at the forefront,
Oh,
Sure.
right.
the most active place I've ever been. Although I've seen things in Walmart, I've seen things, just
Me
passing
too.
down the street. So
I've seen lots of
but
paranormal
I
things in
I
Walmart.
lived in this house for 15 years,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Right. No, I gotcha. I've seen many paranormal things in Walmart. Sorry. But
Is that a zombie?
exactly. So you know exactly what I'm going for.
yeah, I'm sure.
So
All right, my lady. Well, thank you again for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon.
you're welcome. I'll be in the chat.
All
Okay,
right.
see you there. Very cool.
Bye.
All right, and we got one more caller, and this is Miss Diane is calling in. How you doing, Miss Diane?
Hello, how you doing? I am peachy, which means I must be sweet, soft-skinned, and bruise easily.
That could be.
Okay, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not peachy. Maybe I'm groovy instead. But we'll go into that another time.
All right.
All right. Love you all. I had a gig over the weekend. Sean called up, and he didn't want to do a crossing over, and so that is my thing. I do those. Sean is too emotional for those, and so he showed me a picture so I could go there. And so I thought, since we were talking about child stuff and this involves a child, good time to call it in.
Sure.
So he shows me a picture of what looks like a kid's bedroom with a toy on it. The first thing I see on the bed is something that looks like an octopus. I like kind of a brown, sort of a brown yellow octopus, and I'm like, what the heck is that? But then I look again, and it's a child's toy. And then when I go there, I can see there is a spirit that a child spirit, supposedly a child spirit, that is what the kid has been seeing, who he's doing the job for, whose mother he is doing this job for. I guess the mother got in touch. Her child was seeing another child, was seeing a child spirit, and it was causing some trouble. And I'm not sure what the whole story is, but anyway, he called me in to do the crossing over part because that's my specialty. So, one of my things. And so I realized that we weren't just talking about that, though, that this wasn't just... I did talk the child spirit into crossing over, but then I had to, I really... you have asked this question before. You have said, really, you can't imagine a world, a reality where children would be left behind, and I think I think really that's why some of us exist, is because we don't really. There are beings who do take care of that to make sure that they get where they need to go.
Right.
So I guess they, I suppose. I am like you though. I get kind of weirded out sometimes with child spirits. I always double check to make sure they really are
Yeah.
kids. So, yeah, because that seems odd. That's another one of those things that you got to watch out for when you do this kind of work. But this seemed legit. But it's okay because this is what I did with it. And Lou, I know Lewis is going to love this. I think I did say some point on the portal here that one of my first gigs as a soul retrieval, doing a soul retrieval, giving somebody's peace back to them was for a 12-year-old who had lost her soul peace back when she was 8. Well, the being that helped me with that, the teacher, the guide, the spiritual guide that helped me with that, was a bear. And he has a name too, and Deb told me not to name them because it's not good to name your guides, but to people on the air. So I'm not going to do it. But he has a name, and he is a bear, and he's the one that told me to do, showed me how to do the soul retrieval. And so he showed up again, and he hadn't showed up in years. And I was so glad to see him, and he gave me a bear hug. He's a very sweet-natured bear. And the interesting thing about this guide is that he kind of looks like a bear and kind of looks like a person. Maybe he looks kind of a bit like a squatch. I don't know. He's just, it's like he looks like a bear, but somehow his hair on his head is just a little bit, like over his eyes is just a little bit longer, and he parts it in the middle. And kind of, he looks kind of groomed somehow. It's kind of weird to try and explain this. But anyway, so here's this, he showed up, and I said, could you help me with this? Because I'm not really sure what's going on here. We got this octopus thing in a child's toy that I got to figure out. And then we have this child here who is apparently lost, a lost spirit. He's earthbound, obviously, needs some help. And he said, it's no problem. I can handle this. I can help him get to where he belongs. Well, this bear spirit has helped me before, so I trust him. He's a good guy. So I say, okay, can you please handle that? So he took him through to help him find his parents, I guess. And then I had to deal with this octopus in the kid's toy, and I'm like, okay, I know. Shauna's told me that sometimes they just love their toys a lot, and it enlivens them. It gives them a sort of a life. But I wasn't getting that vibe from this thing. I was getting a whole different vibe. So I took the thing out, and I said, okay, what the heck are you? Oh, and it says, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I said, you know what? It's funny because my guts say that you're not here to help. That you feel kind of slimy and weird. You don't even feel like a real octopus. So I don't know what you are, and I cannot assume that you're really here to help, so you're going. So I got rid of that thing, too. And then as far as I know, after that, everything quieted down for them. But, it was just a weird thing that, I think a lot of things, maybe this is more common than we know, that things will kind of attach to a child's toy.
Right.
And, the child doesn't maybe always know exactly that that's odd to have. Like, it was not an octopus toy. It was a bear or something. So I'm like, that doesn't quite fit. So, it just didn't fit. It the same color as the toy, but it wasn't the same as the toy. So anyway, his toy is now liberated, and so is the spirit of the little boy. And I guess he was really a real boy because the bear took him and to take him back to his parents. So I guess he really was. So, because I trust him. Anyway, it wasn't, I guess that's not terribly exciting, but it is like an example of some of what I've been hearing tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I have been downloading a lot of pictures of, you know what, I am so into mud fossils right now, Brent. Can I come on sometime and talk about mud fossils?
Oh, sure. Just write me an email and we'll sort out when.
Okay, because, you know, I mean, I have really found some amazing, I just got to sort them out a little bit.
Sure.
There are a lot of amazing mud fossils, and one of them is the head of apparently there were cryptids plenty on this planet.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because people have found, somebody found something that might have been, I don't know if you heard the time when Chris was talking about they are serpents in their real bodies. When he went to visit his real body, him and his wife are serpents, serpent humanoids.
No, I guess I missed that.
Apparently, this woman had found something she thought was a piece of a statue. It was a head, and Roger looked at it from Mud Fossil University. She's looking at it and she's going, "Wait a minute, this isn't a statue. This doesn't make any sense at all. It looks like this thing was cracked in the head. It's misshapen. It's kind of swollen over here, and it's kind of misshapen over there, and there's a crack here, and Roger looked at it and he said, this is very consistent. Then you turn it over and you look at the neck and it looks like it has a throat area and a neck bone, and he says, oh my God, that was alive at one time.
Oh, wow.
Well, she won't take it in the house because she's scared to death of it.
I can't blame her.
And who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
So, so there's two different videos about this thing, and I'm there, wow, I got to tell Chris about this because apparently we had all kinds of things on this planet.
Wow.
All kinds of really weird things. And if you look at the mud fossil records, you will see people standing next to some of these very odd-looking creatures.
Wow.
And immortalized in fossilized stone. So I'll try and find more of that sort of thing. It's kind of rare to find because, as we know, the Smithsonian, if they hear about it, comes along and cleans all that up and sanitizes our history. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
But I will try to find as much of that kind of thing. And these pieces that people do have, they guard like nobody's business. They don't even, a lot of times, they don't even let it out except to just a close friends about having it because you don't want your place to get raided.
Yeah.
People have actually got their places raided to get this stuff away. So it's like, what are they trying to hide? They're trying to hide something awfully big. But if you look at the mountain ranges and stuff in the landscape, once you start to see what these things look like, what the shapes look like and everything, and realize that some of them are going to be a little crushed, and that's actually an indication that if they're kind of misshapen and maybe a little crushed, that they really might have been alive at one time, because who's going to make a statue that looks like it's been bashed in the head anyway, and have bones inside it and organs and whatever anyway.
Right.
But that's so far, that's how far I've gotten with that. So anyway.
Yeah, just
now,
write me an email and let me know, when you're ready, and we'll figure out when that can happen.
Okay, wonderful. And like anybody else who wants to talk about that, I think I might have to devote some kind of a site or channel or group or something just specifically for mud fossils, because it is wild. I mean, at first you think you're nuts for seeing that, because when I was a kid, I saw this all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember looking, going down to the Gorge Park and looking and saying, well, that looks like an Indian face to me, and And I showed it to my parents, and they said, "Oh yeah, isn't that interesting how that looks like that?" You know, nothing. But we have been surrounded by this. The blood, pipestone. The natives say that pipestone is the blood of the ancestors. Now, the interesting thing is that most people think, oh, it symbolizes, because it's red, the blood of the ancestors. No. I now think that that is exactly what it is. Exactly what pipestone is the blood of the ancestors. I believe them. I believe that they are absolutely correct. That is not symbolic. That is probably 100% a fact.
Okay.
That somehow it is fossilized blood that's turned into stone that's fossil, you know. Anyway,
All
just
right.
saying.
Sure.
All that. Okay, love you guys.
All right.
See you next time on The Price is Right.
All right. We'll talk to you then, D.
All right. Good night,
Thanks.
D.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay. So we got through our calls. That was great. Always love hearing from y'all out there in listener land. So what did I miss on that deal? Are you going to tell me later?
Yeah, later. I'll tell
All
you.
right. Very good. It's one of those things that sit in my head like, what the hell's going on? What am I not knowing about my own show? All right. Another one about these weird things kids have said. My daughter was in the back seat looking out the window and just calmly says, "Mommy, look at all the people." She was pointing at a cemetery that was has plaques, no headstones, so it looks like a pretty field. And she was 2, and there wasn't a living soul around for miles. I just turned on the radio and acted like everything was fine. It wasn't.
No.
Not necessarily what this is another one. Not necessarily what the kid did, but heard him scream horribly loud on the monitor. And my girl said there's a black figure standing over his bed. I jumped up as soon as I do the basement door. As soon as I do, the basement door flung open. My dog freaked the hell out, running. I ran upstairs, grabbed my son, and we stayed at my mom's. My fiance had an existential crisis because she now believes in ghosts. And funny enough, I knew the family and dude who lived in our house, so I went to the attic and found suitcases right above my son's room. With the guy who died, dead son's things were. What? With the guy who died, dead son's things were. I don't know what the hell all that means, but I guess where all the deceased people's stuff was left. Me and my cousin grabbed them and returned the items to the dead son's old wife. Did an exorcism when all sorts of weird stuff happened. We recorded it and got video of his camera and mount got ripped off of the counter. Got video of his camera and mount getting ripped off the counter. The stand held going 100 miles per hour on the outside of a car and wouldn't come loose unless a tab was pulled. And on top of that, the batteries died about 20 times faster than they should have. Although after we did that, Rex, the dead owner's dead son, never did come back. Turns out Rex was a real dick in life. So scaring my kid wasn't out of the question. I guess not. I guess he's reaping the benefits of that life. Another one, not my kid, but I was at my friend's place for a cookout, and his son opened the sliding glass door, tapped on the side of his house, and said, "I'm going to burn this down." And then casually walked inside and shut the door.
Wow.
Okay. Anybody want another hot dog? Wow. How
We're
do you
going to burn
follow
this
that?
mother down.
Yeah.
We're going to burn this mother down.
Yeah, that's creepy. This is from my cousin's kid, middle of the night, got dad's hunting knife out and stabbed the leather couch over 50 times.
Wow.
He's 5. Oh, geez.
That was a crime of passion.
I hate this couch. I hate this couch.
I can't sleep on you. You won't let me sleep on you.
My 1-year-old will point to a spot on the ceiling, say, "Aw," and make grabby hands towards it, and then begin tracking whatever it is she sees and blowing kisses at it. I'm pretty sure it's Satan. Nothing good lives on the ceiling. Oh no. Yeah, that's got to be unnerving as hell. I used to say things my grandfather used to say a lot, like yelling out in German at our dog. My grandfather died years before I was actually born. Maybe you are your grandfather. Driving with my then 3-year-old cousin, out of nowhere, she screamed, "Oh my God!" And I asked her what was wrong, and she said it was the apocalypse. I don't know who taught her that. So the kid just suddenly thought it was the apocalypse time. Found a picture of a lady in a fancy hat while on a walk. 6-year-old declared that lady was dead. And then she said we should find the grave, dig up the body, and wear her skin. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We could use the skeleton for Halloween decorations. No, children should not think like this at all. Ay. Another one. I'm not a parent, but I'm a nanny. And this was a little over a year ago, and I asked my 3-year-old boy, Charge, to do something simple. Clean up a toy or throw out a napkin from lunch, some menial task like that, which he does a dozen times per day. And he shook his head, and I reminded him about cleaning up after ourselves, and he said, I can't. The man in the floors says no. I got a little chill and asked him what he meant, and he pointed to a heating cooling vent in the floor and said, you can't make me do it. It never came up again. So far, no man in any of the floors or vents. This is another one, not a parent, but one time my brother at around age 6 or 7, he's 10 now, mentioned an old apartment we used to live in years before he was born. And I asked him how he knew about it, and he said, before I was born, Jesus showed me and said, this is going to be your future family. Our family/community isn't religious at all. Well, it's nice of Jesus to be giving people tours before their birth.
Here, how do you like this one? I'll sell it to you cheap.
Yeah, it's going cheap, I'm telling you. Nobody wants to live here. But it's all yours. No,
You can have for a small price.
Yeah, exactly.
Your soul.
Ooh, that's creepy now. Now, this is not my child, but my granddaughter, 7 years old at the time, grabbed my face, looked me in the eyes, and said, I love you so much, I want to cut your head off and put it in my backpack so you'll always be with me.
What?
After I explained to her that she couldn't do that
Settle down, Jeffrey.
because I would die, she said, oh, well, that's life. She's 13 now. My head is still attached to my body, so I'm good so far. I've asked her if she remembers saying that to me. She doesn't, and thought what a horrible thing to say. Yeah, clearly. So the next one, sleeping in bed, my wife is at work. I sense someone at the side of my bed. I slowly open my eyes to see my 5-year-old standing at the edge of my bed. Well, what's going on? They're coming for us. What? He proceeded to walk back to his bedroom and go to bed. We discovered that he was a sleepwalker who also suffered from night terrors. And the night we discovered that is another horrifying night.
Oh, God, that would be scary.
Yeah, no kidding. Who's coming? What?
He's
What?
coming for us.
Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Very wrong.
Said the sleepwalking child.
Sleepwalking 5-year-old child, which makes it even creepier. It's kind of like they're here, you know? Right? The poltergeist thing? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
When my oldest daughter was in kindergarten, she wrote and illustrated her first book titled, I Hope You Die in a Fire.
Oh, my God.
This is like morbid humor, and I'm sorry if I'm laughing in poor taste, but it's like, of all the things you'd never want to hear your child say, that would be pretty high on the list, I'm thinking. Oh, God. A few months back, I just put my 3-year-old son to bed a couple of hours prior, and I was downstairs watching television. I heard him calling out, so I went up to see what he wants, and he tells me that there's a ghost in his room, and he's not really scared of or anything. Only ghosts that he is aware of are the ones in some of his cartoons or during Halloween. So I just looked around the room and tell him I don't see anything and that ghosts aren't real.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, there's another squasher. He looks me square in the eyes and said, no, Dad. Ghost went in my mouth, down my throat, and he's in my tummy.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, son, go back to sleep now because I may not. Oh, that's so horrible. So I don't know if this kid just rented out his stomach or what the deal was there. I woke up one time to my 3 or 4-year-old brother tossing lemon heads on my face, and I asked him what he was doing, and he admitted to trying to get them in my mouth so I could choke and die.
Oh.
I was like, holy mackerel, that's a little screwed up. And I told my parents, but they laughed and said it was just him being dumb but cute kid.
That's cute. Yeah, that's real cute. Yeah.
I'll get my own room.
Die, by Lemonhead. They're not the soft ones either.
Yeah, I told you it's my toys.
I don't share with anyone.
Wow, that's horrible.
Tommy's not here, you little.
Yeah. Mommy, will you ever hurt me with a knife? And I told her no. She followed up with, okay, good. I know some moms do that. She was 3 when this happened. She had never seen any videos or anything that showed child abuse, so I'm not sure how she was aware that some parents hurt their kids. But she's also never been abused by anyone as well. Yeah, that's kind of not the thing you'd expect your child to say. Next one is not my kid, but nephew. He went through this phase of being absolutely terrified of going to sleep in his room. I'm sure all kids go through this eventually, and I babysat a couple of times during this phase, and we basically had to sit beside his bed and help him fall asleep. And he'd usually wake up shortly after he left the room and start crying. His reason? The big, dark, scary man standing in the corner with red eyes doesn't want me to sleep. Yeah, that's not
Doesn't want
good.
anybody to sleep anymore.
Yeah, ever. So when my son was about 5, he started having night terrors. Eyes wide open, he would stare into an abyss of his own device and scream with the chilling ferocity of hell itself. I would hold him and rock his rigid little body until he loosened back to sweaty, deep sleep. What I never told my husband or the pediatrician or even my mother was that I was afraid of him during these nighttime bouts of what looked and felt like nothing less than possession. I was afraid of my own sweet child and wanted to run away. Wow.
That's scary.
That is scary. And it's, if you kind of feel like it's not really your kid at that point, I can kind of understand it, but still, yeah. I mean, God, that would be horrid to think something's trying to get into your kid. All right, next one. When my daughter was 4 or 5 years old, we lived in a 2-bedroom townhouse, and it was just the 2 of us, mom and daughter. Her dad passed away, and she always crept into my bed at night but never said why. And one day we were cleaning her room and putting away laundry, and she got very agitated and said, "Why is he here now?"
Oh, God.
And he said he only comes at night. And I asked if she was talking about Dad, and she said, no, the boy with no hands. We moved a few months later, and she's never come into my bed at night or mentioned him since. Yikes. Another one. My 3-year-old, I want to make everyone not alive. It says, oh, okay, little buddy. All righty.
Oh, no.
What's next? Another one. When my son was 3, he had an existential crisis. He had just discovered death, and every night as I was going to sleep, he would fixate on the fact that everyone is going to die. A lifelong atheist, I found myself talking to him about heaven, just hoping something would reassure him and make him worry less and maybe go to sleep for a few hours. But this nightly anxiety attack over the inevitability of death went on for months.
Wow.
One night, I've calmed him down. He's quiet for a long time, and I think he's finally asleep, and I'm about to tiptoe out of the room when loud and clear he says, "Mama will die tomorrow."
Oh, Jesus.
I knew this was just his latest bout of worry, but he said it with such conviction. I spent the whole next day holding my breath. Maybe he knew something I didn't. And that's the end of the story, so I guess it didn't actually come to fruition.
Thank God.
Thank God, yeah, exactly.
Hey, did you hear about the Chesterfield family that fought off a naked intruder claiming she was the devil?
Yeah, I did. That's just really wrong. Apparently they shot this person a few times.
Yeah, emptied 30 or shot 39 rounds at her.
At her, yeah. I don't know how many they actually
None
drove
struck
home.
the suspect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. Clearly.
Started throwing furniture.
Did you want to read something? Is that what
Oh
you're at?
no! Shoved a wrench in her neck. So the 12-year-old. That's why she was bleeding. The 12-year-old stabbed her with a wrench.
I don't even know how you do that. I think it's like one of
It's
those
amazing.
box wrenches. It's got those sharp edges.
That's. Oh no! That's not a wrench. That's like a Torx attachment for a.
Oh, right. Yeah,
right,
it's got
it's
that
like a
Torx
ratchet,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Shove that into the neck of the person.
So it's probably on a fixed handle, so it could be used like a screwdriver. And they kind of jammed it in there.
Yeah, that's wrong. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what that would be like. But I can assure you that if somebody came into my house saying they were the devil, I mean, it would be just game on until you better pack a lunch if you're coming here saying stuff like that.
That's just creepy though. But do you think things like that can happen if they were possessed? Because they said that
Sure.
it was like she was possessed.
Way stronger than she should have been. I mean,
Strength of 4 men, he said. Yeah.
yeah, but and that's certainly possible, and that would be definitely indicative of potential possession, but it's also indicative of drug abuse.
PCP abuse.
Yeah, exactly, because you lose those normal limits and the pain receptors shut off, so you are stronger because you don't have the pain that goes, hey, you're going to damage yourself. So
Hey, you have damaged yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You took a screwdriver to the neck.
yeah, that should wreck anybody's day, but it didn't seem to I don't know. I guess it stopped the attack for the most part, but man, what a mess. That would be horrid.
Yeah.
That would be horrid, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Next one. I was taking my 3-year-old I was asking my 3-year-old if he remembered being born. And then I asked him if he remembers what happened before he was born because of Reddit threads like this and the creepy answers they sometimes give. Without missing a beat or any prompting from me other than the question, he goes, I was in a helicopter that go around and around and around, then boom, into the ground. So it seems as though he's remembering a past life. Huh. That's pretty intense. That's got to be a lot for a little kid to carry around.
Yeah, no
It's a
doubt.
lot for an adult to carry around. So
Is that the strength of 4 leprechauns?
somebody say that?
Yes.
Who said that one?
One of our very disturbed chatters.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms. They got to be strong because we're always after their Lucky Charms. All right, number 37. My daughter was about 8 when she asked, "What is it called when your parents die and you go live with someone else? Who are the people?" And I asked, "Godparents?" To which she replied, "You and Dad should get those." Huh? Am I dying? Are you dying? I'm confused and terrified.
No doubt.
A few weeks ago, this is another person. I was getting breakfast ready for my 3-year-old when he nonchalantly told me his grandma fell down the stairs about an hour later. Grandpa calls to tell us his grandma had fallen down the stairs. Also, last weekend, my 3-year-old said my sister was going to visit the next day, and guess who showed up for a surprise visit? This is a gifted kid.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wow. He's getting all kinds of uploads. Huh. All right. This one is when my special needs son was 10, he had to have some very serious surgery, and it was about an 8-hour procedure.
Wow.
And it was pretty risky operation, and we did not tell him these risks. Right before they wheeled him into surgery, he hugged me and said, "Goodbye forever."
Oh, gosh.
He made it through, and his quality of life was dramatically improved by the surgery. But it was the scariest 8 hours of my life, though.
I bet.
Oh, that's got to be horrid. Man, the things some parents have to go through. Ugh. My heart goes out to them for sure. This is another one. Well, this morning I was laying in bed. My almost 2-year-old came up, put her face right up to mine, and I thought maybe she wanted a kiss. And then she said, "Mama, I want to eat your eyes, please." They look so yummy. Jeez. That's disturbing.
Oh my God.
What am I missing now?
No, that story is,
yeah, that's creepy.
yeah.
It is creepy, ladies and gentlemen, but I think, a lot of cases, kids look at the eyes and then look at candy. I mean, you think of sugar candy and stuff, and the eyes do look like they're.
Oh, Mama, you're just so sweet. I want to eat your eyes. oh.
I mean, the correlation would be there, I would think. You look at a sucker and it's like this crystalline structure, and then you look at an eye and it's got that luster.
Mama, you look like a sucker.
There is that. So another one, not my parents, but a story they tell me about myself when I was young. When I was 3, we moved into a new home, and we were eating dinner in our big, somewhat creepy new house when I stop, stare at the ceiling. My parents ask if everything's okay. I shush them up and reply, "We have to be quiet. We don't want to wake up Marcus." Well, we don't know any Marcus, so my parents silently freak out, thinking maybe I saw a ghost or something. Long story short, when I visited my uncles, they would tell me to stay quiet because their neighbor, Marcus, lived above them. Definitely spooked my parents good. So that one wasn't really as creepy. It was just the kid thinking that there was a Marcus everywhere, I guess, because his uncles had a Marcus upstairs. So another story, not my son, but a friend's son said, "Uncle," which is talking about the author here, "is going to die in water." Me and his dad, "What the hell? How?" And he's going to fall from a bridge and die in the water.
Oh.
He walks out of the room laughing. He's 4. Oh no. What's another one? These are kind of comical in a really morbid way, though.
Yes.
It's 1 a.m. I'm dead asleep with my wife in the living room reading. And all of a sudden, the baby monitor is blaring my 16-month-old son's laughter in my ear. So I jump up and run into his room, and he's standing in his crib, pointing at the corner of the room and giggling hysterically.
Oh.
I just stared at him for a few seconds before I grabbed him and put him in bed with me. Yeah, I think they get visited. I really do. And I think that most likely it's probably a very sweet, beautiful thing, but what if it's not,
Yeah.
What if it's not, It's that funny demon guy's back. Once when my toddler was hugging me, he quietly said, "I won't eat your bones."
God dang.
Much obliged.
Thanks. Crush your bones to make my bread.
Yeah, exactly. When my daughter was around 4, she had a habit of waking me up by getting 4 inches from my face and staring at me until I opened my eyes.
Paisley just said that same thing in chat.
Oh?
Yeah, she said her daughter gets up and stares at her until she wakes up.
Once my eyes opened, she'd say, "Mommy, your face is pretty. I want to wear it on my face."
Oh, God. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Careful, Paisley. It says, "Okay, Hannibal, let's get some breakfast." Oh, nice. All right, the next one. I have twin daughters. One day while playing outside, one looked up at the sky and said, "The sky is cracked and on fire." My other daughter looked up and said, "Yeah, the people are screaming."
Uh-oh.
Then they went back to playing with dolls. Fingers crossed they're not predicting the future, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, my 3-year-old son said, "Next time I'm a baby, I want to have green eyes." And I asked him if he had been a different baby before being who he is now. And he squinted his eyes and looked up at me like I was an idiot and said, "Yes, Papa." Aw. I don't know. I think that's really cool when the children know. Next one, not my kid, but a neighbor, maybe 7 or 8 years old. "Hey, Mr. So Much Coffee, what you doing?" "Bringing in groceries, dude. Can I come inside your house?" Nah, buddy, I'm busy, and your mom would wonder where you went. I don't think she'd like that too much." "You mean I really can't?" "Yeah, bud, sorry. Maybe another time when your mom knows where you're at." I'm going to use my gun and put a virus on your brain so that you die."
What?
Yeah, alrighty then. Well, groceries, bye now. Use my gun and put a virus on your brain so you die.
Hello, mother of the kid next door?
Yeah.
You got a problem.
Yeah, no kidding. "Hello, Satan, come collect your spawn." Wow.
Did you name your son Damien?
There's just 2 more left in this list. It says another child is, "I want to play Frozen, but only the part where the parents die in a shipwreck."
Oh, my God.
And the last one, a kid once sat near a campfire and seemed to be lost in his thoughts. And I asked, what is he thinking about? This 6-year-old said, I wish I was high up in space and the whole world was on fire. That'd be beautiful.
Wow.
That's the Psycho song. I don't know. And that's the end of all of those accounts. So
Wow.
I don't know what you guys think of those, but I think that some of them are just innocent, childlike things. Some of them really do sound like visitations. The kids are definitely seeing something. Some of them sound like they could be psychic impressions the kids are getting. But I think all in all, out of the mouths of babes, you know, that old saying. So I think it's pretty powerful stuff.
I think it's crazy. I
Well,
think
it
it's
is.
just crazy.
It is. But, you know, kids don't have that decency compass, you know. They just don't know. It's like, oh, I just love you so much, I want to wear your face. It's like, to them, that probably sounds like a beautiful thing to say. You know, they don't have
Hey,
that
Buffalo
moral
Bill.
filter. Right, yeah.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Right, yeah, yeah. But they don't have that moral filter.
Yeah, they
that-
don't. Yeah, well, they don't have the. They don't. Yeah, that's just scary though.
It is, but
Oh,
you know,
goodness.
it's child thoughts. I think
Yeah.
for the most part, they're actually pretty pure and innocent, but they just come across to our modern sensibilities as twisted and evil.
Just because it's twisted and evil.
Right, but we actually know what that means. They don't.
Wow.
I think that's
So let's see. Last time I talked about this, it was 53,000. Let's see if that's gone up. Let's see if I can find it.
what are you talking about?
Let's storm Area 51.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for something to do on what date is that?
The 20th of September.
20th of September. You got to make yourself available to Nevada. Isn't it in Nevada?
Yeah, it's Nevada Groom Lake. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Go to Groom Lake, and you too can join 50,000 other people who plan to march to their death trying to get into Area 51. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I don't understand that logic that they're just going to just walk in and have a peek. And what do they suppose is going to happen? The military is going to go, oh, well, you know what? Come on in. Check it out. Check out the new drapes.
Yeah,
You know?
we got this new black room back here. We know you want to watch
I
it.
know.
It was organized by somebody named Kyle, I think it was.
Yeah. Well,
For Kyle's, gosh.
Kyle.
Raising money for let's see.
how many is it up to?
I'm trying to find it here. I heard it was up to like 300,000.
Yeah, Duke says against a wall of bullet and predator drones.
Yeah, as as the military laughs at 3,000 rounds per minute.
Yeah, they got show a picture of a guy with a minigun,
Yeah, no doubt.
and it's like, yeah, you could mow down a whole crowd in about 3 seconds with that. And the logic is they can't stop all of us.
Oh yes, they can.
I'm betting they can. At So
3,000 rounds a minute, it would only take 10 guys 1 minute to take out 3.
yeah. If they,
Come on, let's get real.
yeah, it's just challenge accepted. It's like, yeah, I'm betting they can stop you, and they can probably stop you either very painfully. I'm sure there's all kinds of non-lethals that could be used, like
Skip
things that'll shatter-
shot and yeah.
Yeah, bean bags
Beanbags.
and rubber bullets and chemical sprays and acoustic
Water
weapons.
cannons. Yeah, acoustic weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, you could disperse an entire football stadium with an acoustic weapon in a hurry.
Jeez.
So I don't know what these people are thinking. I mean, I understand everybody wants that. Everybody's jonesing for that disclosure. It's like, oh, let's make it now.
Oh my God, there's a GoFundMe page for it.
Wow, somebody's gonna go to Hawaii on that deal.
Wow.
I'll bring the fruit boxes, the drink boxes with this GoFundMe fund. You guys go there and I'll meet you.
Well, that's what it's for. It's we need to help. Let's free these aliens.
Free the aliens.
Yeah, it's for Kyle's monsters. Monster drinks, gas money, snacks, intel, memes, organization materials, spreading the word. Make this happen, guys.
Yeah. How expensive is a meme? I'm wondering.
Let's see. Wait a minute. There's Justin. Let's see here. No donations yet.
There's none. Oh, funny. Well,
Two people have hearted it.
It's good. I mean, somebody's at least making some use out of this whole stupidity. They're like, hey, I'm gonna make a house payment on this deal.
Oh no.
Yep, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're not too busy and you want to be part of history, if you want to solidify your footprint in history, then join the
More like a
masses.
blood stain.
Yeah. Well, the good news is there'll be lots of places to investigate around there.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I said we should go down with a couple, video recorders and some EVP equipment and go and
Yep.
and do the follow up ghost story.
The EVPs will start out with, "What did it feel like to be so stupid? What's it like to not be so smart?" Yeah. Yeah, it's just a human.
think that was such a great idea, guys.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I assume it's got to be a joke. I mean, it's just got to be a joke.
I hope so.
There's nobody that would just think that you could just have a what is it? What the hell was that group called? That Occupy. We're going to occupy Area 51.
Occupy 51.
They're going to pop tents and smoke dope until Area 51 opens its doors.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
Better bring a lot of dope. That's all I'm saying.
So I just found the link to the Facebook page.
Yeah.
and I get site cannot be reached. I'm like, wow, surprise me not.
Yeah. Well, there's this is my surprise face.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
oh
Yeah, in a long history of bad ideas, that's a pretty bad one.
That's an epic one.
Yeah, that's about as stupid as you can get. I don't know what people are thinking. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
I don't pretend to know.
I can't believe there's a GoFundMe on it.
Oh wow, this is somebody apparently tweeted about a haunted Ouija board.
Oh,
Their experience.
go for it. Yeah,
We should maybe discuss this, right? Because we love us some Ouija stupidity. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think Ouija boards are intrinsically evil. I just think that they need to be used with knowledgeable hands. Most people that use them won't experience anything. But there's a small percentage of people that may actually be able to make some kind of contact. And if you do, you don't know what the hell you're making it with. And that's the problem. It's a blind channel. So you don't just open yourself up and say, "Hey, come through. Anybody want to talk?" Because something's going to want to talk. And
something will talk.
it's going to want a whole lot more than that.
A whole lot of loving.
Right. So you just got to be careful with tools like that, because whenever you communicate with spirits, and any medium will tell you this, that there's a lot of preparation, just emotionally, mentally, meditatively. You got to prep your environment, and then you try to make the contact. But these people that are having slumber parties and whipping out a Ouija board are kind of asking for it. But here's how it went. It says, you might want to take a gander at the story from Twitter user Marcus Hitchcock, which addresses a particular harrowing experience he had while he was young, dumb, and left alone with an antique Ouija board.
Oh, an antique one too.
Right, so it's not only is it a Ouija board, but it's probably got some miles on it. In other words, it's fully charged and functioning just great. So I know there's a lot of people who are skeptical of demons and spirits, but I would strongly advise you to stay far away from Ouija boards. I learned this the hard way as a child. There is a link there. Before he gets into exactly what happened and know the backstory. I know there's a lot of people who are, it says, how do you use a Ouija board? Simple. Just follow these steps and follow these instructions. Number 1, don't.
I concur.
So a few weeks later, I tweeted this about my aunt who lived in New Orleans. Even though she was family, she was mean as hell, and overall very toxic person to be around, and she would beat me and my cousins a lot as children, and she would also curse at us for no reason. She was obviously a very disturbed person. Mm-hmm. Says, I remember listening to my grandma on the phone with my aunt telling her to evacuate New Orleans because Katrina was coming, and she said, "Child, ain't nobody scared of no little bit of water." She died. It says she died. Well, somebody should have been scared of a little bit of water.
Well, because a whole lot will kill you.
Right, because now, for the record, I'm reading that exactly as it's written. That's not me doing an accent or poking fun at any type of people. That's the way it's written. It says, "Child, ain't nobody scared of no little bit of water." And then it says she died. So So a few weeks ago, I tweeted this about my aunt who lived in New Orleans. Blah, blah, blah. We already read that. Let's see. Let's show the media. I remember listening to my grandma on the phone. Yeah, that one we read. See, this is a really disjointed story. So my aunt was into some weird stuff. She owned an antique shop in New Orleans, and she had a living space that was right under it, and she would collect skulls and candles and set them up all around her house. My grandmother thought she was heavy into witchcraft, but didn't want me over there. I can't see why. One day my aunt had a pretty bad stroke and had to start using a wheelchair, and she had a little elevator installed in her house that she would take her from downstairs where she lived upstairs to her shop whenever she needed to go up there. When they heard Katrina was coming, my family tried to get her to come to Georgia, but she wouldn't leave the shop. When the storm came, all the power went out, which meant her elevator stopped working. Mm-hmm. She got stuck under the shop when the water rose and drowned still in her wheelchair. So that's a pretty morbid ending. Now we'll get to the real story. You can find out why the details matter soon. Now here's where the story begins. My uncle went to New Orleans and got all the stuff out of her shop when the waters receded. Most of the stuff she had in there got looted, but he was still able to collect some of her items she had in the room below. Let's see. My uncle brought back most of the stuff in suitcases and in bags to go through, and I was living with my aunt and uncle at the time in South Georgia at the time, and the house they lived in is on a dirt road, literally in the middle of nowhere. Pay attention, that's important. Me and my cousin were going through some of the bags he brought back, and we found my aunt's Ouija board, and she used to always yell and curse at us for touching. We never knew it was what it was when we just assumed it was for kids because it was had a bunch of letters on it. My uncle used to leave us home alone a lot because he worked at a fire department further into town, and so one day he left to work an overnight, and my cousin thought it would be a good idea to play with this little board he told us not to touch. Typical kids. Don't touch that. Okay, we're going to touch that. So we get to playing with it, and at the bottom of the board, there's a little instructions on how to use it. It told us how to communicate with spirits and summon certain loved ones who have passed on. We started asking where Tupac and Biggie was at.
Okay.
And then it says when it's, I can't say that word, but when, I'm trying to think of how to rephrase this. When it wouldn't let us talk to them, I came up with the amazing idea to ask my aunt how to use it. So we asked the board to bring my aunt back to show us how to use the board. Mind you, we got every single light in the house on, I kid you not, and the power went out. Uh-oh. What is this missing? Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure I pooped myself, but I was too scared to check. When the power go out and you're in the middle of nowhere, it's pitch black. And I was shook because it wasn't even raining. Me and my cousin screaming, and for some reason we hide under the bed. We under the bed when all of a sudden things got real quiet. I had a cell phone that I had used, but I had left it plugged up in the kitchen. Now this is a pretty big house, so I would have had to walk like 100 feet in the dark to get it. My cousin was like, "Go get the phone." Nice. He volunteers him to go get the phone. As scared as I was, I figured if I ran, it wouldn't be so bad. So I got up from under the bed and was getting ready to run my 4.2 40 to the kitchen. And tell me why someone started knocking on the door. I kid you not. I'm going to piss myself. My cousin said it was the ice maker, and I said, "How is it going to be the ice maker when the power's out?" The knocking got a little bit louder at this point. Now we both know it ain't the ice maker, and he said, "Go see who it is." I could have fought this man on God. And now at this point, whoever is at the door is banging like DeKalb County police serving a warrant. The banging was super loud, and remember, we were in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where, but I got the balls from, but I made my way to the door and said, "Who is it?" The banging stopped. I didn't hear anything. I grabbed my little flip phone and turned on the flashlight. My cousin standing behind me with a swimming pool noodle as a weapon. I was so scared.
Gonna be with a wet noodle.
I could. He's got one of those foam noodles, the swimming pool things. I couldn't. I was so scared I couldn't call him stupid, so we just ran back to the room and slid back under the bed. So we get under the bed and the house is still pitch black. I'm trying to call my uncle, but his phone going straight to voicemail. My cousin trying to get my attention, but I'm telling him to shut up because I'm calling and I don't want whoever at the door to know where we at. He's pointing to the window. The window is right above the TV where we could look out and see out of it. And there's somebody peeking through the door or the window. A full face is pressed on the glass, and I couldn't even make out who or what it was. At this point, my heart beating so fast, I think I'm about to pass out. My cousin is losing its tears and snot all over the floor, but I got my hand over his mouth telling him to be quiet. Whoever's at the window is literally scratching it in the creepiest voice I ever heard. Said, "I can see you." Oh, God, that'd be horrible. I grabbed my cousin by the shirt, pulled him from under the damn bed, and darted to the next room over. It didn't even look in the direction of the window, but all I heard was screaming and banging on it as I ran out. All the windows that were hanging up in the room fell from the banging. We get to the next room, close the door, lock it, jump in the closet with my cousin. My uncle kept an old rifle in there, but I didn't even know how to use it. And I notice it's a little breeze in this little dark room. The window is open. I'm so scared I literally can't even move. I know I got to close this window, but I don't want to go near it. I can remember it like it was yesterday, but I don't go near. I don't hear the banging anymore. And I thought whoever it was left, but my cousin said, "What if they come into this side?" I run over to the window with this rifle I don't even know how to use, and I figured I would close the window as best I could and run back to the closet. I get to the window, and now this is the triggering part. I'm trying to close this window, but it's an old house, so I take a good amount of strength to close it. My uncle has this big plantation field right out in front of the house. I look out the window and swear to God I saw somebody standing on the edge of the field. My cousin, still in the closet, was finally able to find the flashlight and tossed it to me. I shine the light in the field, and before I got a chance to really see who it was, they start running towards the house. This window is still not closing. I pick up the shotgun and just start pulling the trigger. It's not doing anything. And this person is like 10 feet away from the window and won't stop. I throw the rifle out the window at whoever it is and run out of the room and close the door and run into the living room. Me and my cousin is in the living room. I've literally accepted the fact that we're both about to die because I left the window open and I know whoever or whatever it was about to find us. I tell him I love him and I hug him, and then in the middle of the hug, I saw lights outside. Headlights. Somebody's outside, and I'm looking out the window from behind the couch, and I see is a big F-250 truck outside, and this old white man who live on the other side of my uncle's property. It's him and his wife. They wanted to see if our power was out too. Me and my cousin just run outside door house and towards this truck. And we tell him everything in like 7 seconds, and he told us to stay in the truck with his wife, and he pulled out his Yeehaw Clint Eastwood looking pistol. I ain't never been more excited to see a white man in my life. I noticed that the window in the room we just was in was closed now. And I told his wife that someone was definitely in the house now, and she is literally screaming at him to get out of the house, but he's not answering. She called 911 and made them send every available officer this town had. This man finally came out of the house and run back to the truck, and we drove back to his house and waited for the police to show up. I finally got through to my uncle, and he wasn't answering because they were on a fire call. He came right back to the house as the police showed up. The police searched the entire house and didn't find anything. No signs of forced entry, no scratches on the windows, no dents on the doors, and the only thing they found was a lot of water on the floor and in the halls. They asked us if we'd been playing with the water, and we said no. We told the police the whole story, but they treated us like we were just kids seeing things. I know what I saw, and they wrote it off as us being just up too late. My uncle took us to stay at the fire station that night. You'd have to pay me to stay in that house. The next morning, my uncle and a few of the other firemen were back out to the house. They went to the house and got the Ouija board and took it out in front of the house and burned it. My uncle and his wife got a preacher to bless the house, but I still never went back there. To this day, that whole series of events was the most traumatic thing I've ever went through. I'll be 26 next week, and I still remember everything that happened that night when I was just 13. I don't want to believe that was really my aunt. At the end of the day, I know she was mean, but I don't think she would want to hurt us. I still think it was some kind of demon or evil spirit, but I still can't explain why the police found water on the floor. Maybe it was her. I remember talking to my uncle the next day, and he said that when he found the rifle I was using, it didn't have the safety on it, which means there was no reason it shouldn't have fired. It was fully loaded. I still think about that every single day. The moral of the story, whether you believe in it happened to Marcus, was a supernatural event, it's probably a bad idea to mess around with anything that has to do with contacting spirits, just in case. So there you have it. That was a pretty in-depth story.
So William wants to know if there's a whole lot of swear words in that story.
A lot. There was so much grammar in there I had to omit. I'd still be reading it for another 10 minutes if I'd included all the swear words.
It's funny you say omit because Duke says, does Brent omit all the all important swear words from the stories?
I do. Hi, Zara. How you doing?
Yeah, Zara's here. Yes, hi.
Awesome. It's
haven't
wonderful
seen
to see
her in
you.
a while. Well, I saw her last week. We chatted with her a
whatever.
bit.
I
Whatever.
didn't, and I'm glad to see you now. Thank you so much for
yes,
coming in.
I've become.
But yes, I absolutely edit out swear words on the fly all the time because when you're reading paranormal stories, it's amazing how colorful the language gets when people are feeling scared.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I understand it because if I'm ever feeling scared, it's like I can cuss like a trucker or a sailor.
Yeah.
I guess I should say sailor because MCAT is out there somewhere, and I don't mean to muddy his profession.
No, he's in the chat room. He heard you.
Well, you know what I'm saying, MCAT.
Well, one time I was heading down to Portland with an ex-girlfriend of mine and kids in the car and stuff, and it was just pouring rain like you expect Portland and Seattle area to be doing. And we got off the road because it was raining so badly the windshield wipers weren't doing anything. So got off and pulled on, went over these railroad tracks and got pulled onto the railroad tracks and high centered. Talk about being scared and cursing. Oh my God. I couldn't think of a regular word in my brain to say. Oh my God, it was so scary.
That is scary.
Oh yeah, so yeah, during paranormal, yeah, I can imagine that filter goes away really quick.
Oh yeah. There's no decency anymore. It's all about just you color it as with every brush you've got, and sometimes that's really verbal. But yeah, it's great. It's great.
Oh, wow.
Of course. So I guess I don't know about you, brother. You got anything you want to read? Or are we?
No, that was. Well, I found the Storm Area 51 Facebook page.
Okay.
And you got to read the comments on there.
Oh.
Some of them are just funny. Some of them are like, "Are you serious?" It's like, really? Do you think that's really gonna work? Yeah, it's just it's insane. Here's one. It says, "Time traveler arrives from 2029. Me. So did those people actually storm Area 51? Time traveler. You mean the Great Area 51 massacre?"
That's exactly what it would be. And, unfortunately, they don't have any choice. I mean,
No.
these guys don't like get up and think, God, I can't wait to mow down a bunch of people trying to enter the base. But they've got a job to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, It's like somebody working at a grocery store is not going to let people just walk out with groceries.
Hey,
you
where you
gotta
go
pay
with
for
my
it.
ice
I mean,
cream?
it's a part of life.
It's an unfortunate position to put these people in too.
Right.
It's like people who jump in front of freight trains to kill themselves. You only think of the machine that's killing you, not the person who's driving the machine.
Right, that's got to
kills
watch
you,
that.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So
And that's exactly what that's. So if it is true, you're a bunch of idiots. If it's not, it's a great story.
Yeah, it's been a lot of food for mockery anyway, and that's always.
I really want to go
gold.
down there though and just take video
And
camera
and the reason why is
and
because
if anything does happen, like blood and guts, then we'll leave. And then we'll come back 3 days later after the rain and start interviewing ghosts.
it's kind of in the desert, Don. There's not going to be any rain.
Well, you can always hope.
Yeah, it's one of those things I just have at no point in my life ever thought. I wonder what it'd be like to watch 30,000 people die.
Oh no, it's up to 500,000.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Well, they might have a chance now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's bigger than most standing armies in the world. I don't know. I don't believe they're going to be armed when they do it, but they're going to be all kinds of stupid.
Oh yeah, and that was one of the other things. Somebody just reminded me. Somebody said, watch out for the landmine. So yeah, to get through the land, I would advise people to step softly.
Bring a lot of bowling balls and roll them in front of you.
That's not a bad idea. No, they want to do the Naruto run through there. They'll be able to get through, and
it's just going to turn into Minecraft in there, isn't it?
Oh my god, that's the wrong kind of mine.
Yeah, exactly. Minecraft, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up the show. What do you think, brother?
I think I'm done for the night.
Okay, well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we love being here and we love having these moments with you when we can. I hope you guys will check out the podcast if you haven't already. Of course, a lot of people are, and it's absolutely humbling and wonderful. And thank you so much. If you are one of those people out there that are checking it out, we're just getting lots of great feedback and meeting a lot of new people, which is really cool. What?
Well, it just reminded me. I forgot who it was, but somebody said that they loved us on the round table with Tony and Wes. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it's funny doing a show like that. I've listened to it a few times since then. I play it and listen back, and it's like, oh, I should have said that. Oh, why didn't I say that?
Yeah,
I should have explained that a little more.
Me too. Yeah, I did the same thing. I'm like, well, I probably should have said this instead because it would make more sense.
I know. You just dissect it. And it's like, oh man, I could have done so much better. But it's just really a cool experience to be on there with Wes and Tony and have that discussion.
Awesome.
It was a great time, a lot of laughs, a lot of stuff you guys don't hear, and that wasn't recorded. But a lot, they're just fantastic people, and it was just an honor. So, if they have another one and they invite us, we'll definitely show up.
Show up, yeah. It was Asher Hall that said it.
Oh, Asher. Okay. Well, thanks for coming and finding us afterwards.
Yeah.
Very cool. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back tomorrow night with bedtime stories. Remember, Deb Varner is going to be joining us on Friday. For doing readings, free psychic readings to callers of the show. So we will be here and hoping you guys call in. Again, it's the number. Let me pull up the screen.
I'm being chastised in chat. It says you shouldn't lead with the best story, depraved leprechauns. Sorry.
That really was pretty. That really. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you can't unhear. You can't unhear that. That's just always going to be in my head now. Every time I look at Lucky Charms.
Oh, my goodness.
their stock options are just going to go. Yeah, so anyway, but we will be back. I will be back, but Deb will be with us on Friday.
Nice.
I'll be back for the bedtime stories tomorrow for the the shorter version shows.
Right.
And Don, you'll be back here on Saturday, right?
On Saturday, yeah. It'll be a long day for me, but I'll be here, of course.
Well,
so how can I deck out on you guys, on you and all of you out there?
On us.
The fam.
Don't forget about us, Don.
The fam, yes.
All right, guys. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. That's going to wrap it up for us. Everybody have a great night. And if you tune in tomorrow, I'll talk to you then.
There you go.
All right. See you guys.
Good night.